Right? So the only thing left to play out is for it to actually fall. And we never know if that's going to be the case, do we? But again, the left side of the chart we saw weeks ago based on Commitment of Traders report, but it just wasn't bearish yet. Right? But as price was rising on the chart, on the left-hand side of this chart, as the USD was going up, the fundamental analysis of the market said it's not really going up. It just looks like it's going up. It's just people getting out of their short positions, but nobody's longing. Therefore, the price is rising, but it's not because of bulls being in the market. It's just bears getting out of the market. So the theory is maybe, just maybe, just maybe, just maybe, just maybe, somewhere near resistance, the bears might get back in, and it comes back down, right? So we're talking like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, right? That we had been watching that for actually several weeks. So let's say over the course of 5 or 6 weeks, I think it's been, I don't know, I'm not that good with time. Let's say over the course of 4 weeks, we've been watching Euro USD go up, but we've been watching it on Commitment of Traders report, which says it's not really going up. It's just price going up, but nobody's actually buying. So wait for it to turn bearish. Wait to turn bearish, right? So for 2 weeks, it still hasn't turned bearish. And then finally, a week or two ago, finally it rallies up to 114. Fine. Our aha moment was the 100% retracement, or 80% retracement, more than 786, which is now the weakness that we were looking for. So then our plan technically was hammock. You've been trained, right? When I say hammock, you jump out of your hammock and run down the steel hallways in the belly of the battleship to get to your battle stations, right? And you do your Fibonacci retracement, but it's also the right side of the shoulder, 50% retracement. So now here we are, sort of second day at red alert. Now we have stochastic divergence and a double top. So your potential stop is a little higher, and your potential limit is the distance from the peak of the crown to the neckline, which is expanded out here. So short at 112.50, target 109. Now obviously it'll take a few days for us to get down there. So even to add that, then you can get to this idea of, well, over time, let's say we get near the neckline for today's target, and then tomorrow it rises, and then that fails, and we come down, and there's probably a psychological there, right? Level of 10, retest this, and then maybe down again, right? So you might actually have 3 days worth of selling to do, or sell and hold, or it comes up and you take a small loss of like 50 pips. Make sense? So I just love how we set this up fundamentally first, waiting, right, based on Commitment of Traders report. Then we roll over here, and then we get the big aha moment, which is the 80% retracement, which is too much. It's not a retracement, it's a reversal. So then we have to set up the false rally and ignore the fact that it's going up, and prepare for the lower high, which is actually would develop a right shoulder of a head and shoulders pattern, and then we use that reversal pattern to create a limit and adjust our target, and then use price action over a course of several days. So, I don't know. I still love trading. I still love trading, and I hope you do too. Oops. So let's get going. I think it's going to be a fun day. Did you like trading that binary yesterday? What was it, $500 in 5 seconds worth of work? Yeah, but that'd be luck. So Remember, trading and investing is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance does not predict future results, so always stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, never risk money for to lose. And if you made $500 yesterday, don't put yourself in a position to lose 5,000 today. Because the market giveth and the market taketh away. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is McDonell. I'm the Chief FX Market Strategist for TradersWay.com. Thank you for being a client of TradersWay. We're an ECN organization. We give you the ability to trade Forex, but also energies, metals, indices, and binary options. And I tried to cover a little bit of everything for you. We do these sessions a couple of hours before the New York stock market opens. It's London lunch. It seems like a good time to get together. I'm here every single day. Monday through Thursday, I'm here at TradersWay.com. And every Friday, I'm at FXStreet.com. And I want to help. Won't you let me into your heart? You love trading more than white chocolate. Oh, all right. That's crazy talk. All right. So yeah. So some technical analysis. We got retail sales coming out later today. That's interesting. I mean, we want to know that people are spending money, and also we get earnings from a couple of retail. What is it? Macy's and Kmart or something. Okay, so we got a request for Kiwi and stuff, but there's that Euro USD. So maybe if we can get this this 5 or this 15 to roll over, it might be a short. What does this say? Maybe an hour from now. What is it? 7:44. So maybe at the end of our session, maybe I'll look to sell this sucker. Or another way of doing it is throwing down like a limit order at 12.50, right? You can do it that way. Gives you less control. I like the trigger, but you can do it that way too. Get ready, because this ain't funny. Bum bum. You know, you can do it that way. MoveOn.com, right? Beep. Beep. All right, Brett has a basic question about MT4. I'm happy to do that. Brett used to be a British Bulldog, so anything for him. All right, yeah, you can go like you can go new chart. Oops, did I just click that too fast? New chart. Oh, and then you pick your chart. There's a binary option. How about there's a new Euro USD chart? It's one way. There's also a button which has a chart on it and a plus. You can do it that way. Pick your poison. In case you want to trade Euro Kiwi, you're just desperate for it, right? Okay. Here's the cool thing, though. I think the standard charts you get with every MT4 setup, I think they're just useless. So I like to customize mine, and so what I'll do is I'll make some changes, and then I save those changes as a template. So I'll say, well, I like to look for pivot clusters. Okay. And so now there's a chart. it's the same chart. This is the Euro Kiwi, but now I put like my favorite indicators with my favorite colors on there. And then I say, you know what, I don't want to use that anymore, so I can change the template and say I don't like it with the oscillators. And then let's say I want to make a change, and I'm like, I don't like the grid, so let's kill the grid. And then I don't like how it's too close to the right, so let me add the space to it. And then now I could do this. I could go save template. And name it. Okay. So which one was this? This was the scan, right? I kind of like it like this anyways. So I'm going to replace the current one, or I could have named it and saved it as a new one. So therefore, let's say this is my favorite setup now, and then I got this ugly chart that we just added. Right? I'm like, well, that's ugly and useless. So I can go look at your scan, and there's the new version that I made without the grid and with price move to the right. I mean, it's a great question. If you're not that familiar with MT4, MT4 is cool because it's light. It's a very fast platform. I used to use something called the Dealbook 360, and before that it was the Dealbook FX, and before that it was the Dealbook. So I have many, many years trading experience before GFT blew up or got sold out or whatever they did. And I had customized that thing like a 50s hot rod, but the problem is you couldn't run more than 30 charts. After a while, it would bomb out. And that's a problem for someone that has 18 screens. 30 charts, like nothing. But the reason for that is all the charts you were not looking at. So like, see all these charts here? And remember, each one of these profiles has probably 4 or 5 charts, right? So the GFT platform would be running those even though I'm not looking at them. They're still in them and updating them in real time, slowing down the processor. So the real upside to MT4, besides being customizable and programmable, is that it wouldn't be running all these, it doesn't run all these charts in the background, hogging up your resources, your bandwidth, and your processing power. So when you open up a new setup, like let's open up Euro Aussie, it takes a second to load. Okay, and now, boom. Okay, so, and now it's real time, and now it's not running the other one. So it's just a much better system. And if you're interested, TradersWay offers a few different trading packages, some of which are quite nice. But, you know, I'm setting my oldies, right? So MT4 is great. Okay. Brett, anything else? Oh, how do you get that? Get a chart that is not. How do you get a chart that is not default? Well, like I said, you save, you make your changes. Okay, so new chart. There's the default. You make any change you want, like let's go to properties and change the color scheme. Okay, and now you can save that template as anything you want. Sample template. Okay. So now I can go open a new chart. Let's open up West Texas Intermediate. Now I can go to template and sample template. Boom. And so now I could have, you know, I can open up a bunch of charts and just save, move, add the template, add the template, add the template. Okay. Now, is anyone unclear with profiles? profiles are used to organize your charts logically. And you know, I'm amazed. I see lots of traders, and a huge amount of them don't use MT4 properly. They're just really slow. I can't even, how do they do it? They go file, profile, and then they do this. There's probably another way. I can't figure out the wrong way of doing it, but people do it the wrong way all the time. You can access your profiles from down here. And it's amazing, people that watch me trade every single day see me use the profiles properly, and then they trade by themselves and they use them incorrectly. Okay? So the way that you do a profile is now a collection of charts that you like. So like I open up this particular setup, and I put in a bunch of charts. They're all different, right? Pound, yen, euro, dollar, gold, binary option, right? It's just a collection of random charts with whatever templates I want, organized in any fashion that I want. But that's not a chart. It's a collection of charts. So what you do is you go File, and you only have to do this once, right? Profiles, Save As, and now you name your profile. And when you name it, it's put down into here. Okay, so like this, I have a profile that just has stock indices. Okay, now it's loading all those charts, and I'll always load them the same way and just the way I added them last time. And now these are stock indices. Here's the Nikkei, Euro 50. Here's the DAX, right? The FTSE. This one's messed up. This is the National Association of Dealers, ECN, whatever. That's the NASDAQ. S&P 500 and the Dow, right? So cool. And so you organize your charts, right? So I have here's one with just dollar pairs. Here's one with just euro pairs, but also have dollar pairs with pivots, yen pairs with pivots. You know, other ones set up for relative strength, as I showed you yesterday or the day before. And you save your collections so that you could say, hey, let's say you're staring at US dollar Swiss franc and it's going up, and you're like, hey, I wonder if the dollar's strong versus everything. And now you can just pull up a scan. That's how I save that. So now I have a collection of dollar-based charts organized as a scan so that I can see dollar versus everything very quickly, looking for correlation and relative strength. No, Fernando. Okay, it's one of the wonderful things. Okay, how was that? I didn't know we were going to do an MT4 lesson today, but I'm very happy to do that. Okay, so if you open up a new chart, let's continue. Why not? If you care, tons of people care, right? Let's look at some silver. Okay, you're like, silver, let's, I don't like this template. I'm going to change the template to the one that we just made, to simple template. And then you're like, you know what, I still don't like that, so I want to insert some indicators. Okay, let's add average to range. Let's add what? Bollinger Bands. Let's add I'll add a custom one maybe. Let's do automatic trend lines. Okay, and they're added over there. There's my new setup. Save that template. This was the sample template, right? Sample. It already exists. Update it. Yup. And there's my new template. Again, if you're going to make a change, just making all kinds of changes. Okay, I made it bold for the hard of hearing. Okay, oh, I love that. Template, save that sucker. Remember, you got to get used to doing this. Just save it. Save it again. Ooh, why didn't it save that? Did it? Template, save, sample, save, replace, done. Okay. Okay, so now we got that saved. So let's open a new one. Anything you want. Pound CAD, one of my favorites. There we go. Okay. Change the template to our sample template. There it is. And just let's say I really like this layout with all these fabulous charts. Somehow this is my alpha. It just helps me understand the world, right? So now I want to make a profile out of this. So I want to look at these charts because there's a certain relationship between silver and the pound CAD that just makes me money. So I'm going to save this now. Profile, save as, silver, pound, CAD. Okay, boom. And now, let's say I go to Euro Aussie. There's my little layout. So I've got the Euro Aussie profile. Okay, or Euro CAD profile, sorry. And now I'm like, you know what? Let's go back to my silver pound CAD because I love making the money that way. Now I had all those other charts there, so they load on these. Okay, so that's how you use profile. Right, and then you can save your template as your default template and stuff, but you know, I like to use multiple templates, so I don't have a default. I like to change them all the time. So you can see I can change based on what I want. So I'm like, how about this? Trading sessions. This template shows me the market's reaction at the open of new trading sessions. Guess I shouldn't be messing with silver. Should probably change that. Trying a brain fart here. There we go. Quantities are just slower. Less ticks. All right, so anyways, here's the open of the session, and I can see how things react. And I have a template for that. And then I have a template for scalping, a template for swinging. All right, so here's one that's probably better for scalping. And that one even doesn't work when the indicators isn't there. So I could delete that one if I wanted to. So on and so forth. I have lots of tools for my various trades. So now what I can do is I can get it out of that template, or sorry, out of that profile. Now I can go File, Profiles, Remove, Silver Pound CAD, because I don't like it anymore. And now it's done. Tilium. How nice is that? You can't have two profiles open at the same time on the same platform. Okay, but one thing that I do is sometimes, because I got a lot, I have a lot going on always. I even have profiles on different size screens. So you can see my whole MT4 platform here, but I can also expand it over other screens. Okay, so now it's actually over 4 different screens. This particular PC has 6 screens, so I can drag it across all 6 screens and have profiles that are designed like this Pivots USD one. That's designed for one screen, so they're laid out like this. You can't see most of them. But I can also have one that says Pivots USD Big, and I know that profile is designed so that when I drag my MT4 across 6 screens, that I might have one profile that instead of having 4 small pivot settings, that it has custom settings for the full screen. And so I might have 20 pairs with pivot points on those pairs. And so I'll have layouts for one screen and layouts for 6 screens, and I can flip through, so I can just wait for something here, and then when I want to get big, like let's say I'm recording a video and I'm reading news on another screen, and I'm watching CNBC on another screen, I might not need charts on all 6 screens because I'm doing stuff. But when I see something setting up on my charts, I could just open up my MT4 across 6 screens. So good questions, guys. I had no idea. Anything else related to MT4? I'm happy to do it. We're here. Fernando, where do you find pivot points? The wonderful things about MT4 is it's extremely customizable. And there are a million customizations that you can make, some of which, or I'd say most of which are free, some of which are paid. You can buy or have things custom coded. So if you want pivot points, Google pivot point, custom indicator MT4 and find one and download and install it, and if you like it, keep. If you don't like it, find another one. And if you don't like that one, find another one. Okay. Okay. All right. So Technicolor fibs, right? The Whirlybird Technicolor fibs. I'm happy to show you how to do that. Let me change this template. Dun, 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 dun. Is that less distracting? Yeah, I thought so, since you can't see anything. All right. Here's how you do this. Boy, you guys should let me prepare, but so I can do these things for you. All right, I think you can do this on this platform. Okay, 786. You want that to be red, or sorry, deep pink. Okay. Do they all go deep pink? Yeah. It must have been a different platform. Kurt really used to like multiple colors, but it must not have been. Yeah, it must have been the old deal book. Yeah, I guess that's so I guess you can only have one color for the study line and the other one for the levels line. Okay, so you can do it that way. That's how I like it, anyways. All right, sorry. The question was, how do you make the 382, let's say, a different color than the 618? Apparently, you can't do that. Okay. Yeah, when you're installing custom indicators and stuff, check this out. MT4 made an improvement several updates ago. Now you can go to this thing called Open Data Folder, and it just goes to this weird place on your hard disk where your files are stored. It used to be stored in a very logical area. It was just like, it would have been like C/TradersWay, Metatrader / and then you're here. It's now a very complicated area, location. So now you just go to that file and it just pulls it up. File, open folder. Here's where your profiles are stored. Right? You can see here's all the profiles I have at the bottom. Okay, but that does that automatically. Right, here's where my templates are stored. I just showed you how to make those templates. Okay, so you can delete those if you want from that point. And then what am I doing? Under config, what am I doing? History, profiles, templates. Okay, under MQL4, you have an area where you can put your indicators. Okay, there's all my indicators, and you can delete some of these. Like, what is this nonsense? CCI, I don't care about. Bulls, bears, all this nonsense. Okay, I can just delete that if I wanted to. Now they're not going to enter my life, right? So anyways, that's where your indicators and custom indicators go. And then you have your experts with your EAs, and I have a whole bunch of those for various reasons. And then EA is sort of like a custom program that does something custom. It's not just drawing lines, it can do all kinds of things. Okay. So that's where your files go. So when you download a custom indicator, like a pivot point indicator and stuff, you would put it in the indicator folder, and to get to the indicator folder, you just go File, Open Data Folder. Right? MQL4, indicators, and you just drag it in there, done. Probably have to close your MT4 and start it back up so it pulls that file. Nice, huh? Yeah. Anything else? Anything just... Ronnie wants to do a carry trade on ZAR yen. Well, you better hope that the South African economy is going to go up, right? So, yeah, well, if that's what you want, just make sure technically it goes up. In fact, what you want is technically it goes slightly up, but mostly sideways. Anyways, let me change this template. Ooh, I just missed the entry, huh? Look how close that was. Hang on, I want to see if that rolled over on the 5. Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Oh, that feels so good. It's like we missed it just by a few pips there. I'm looking at this 5-minute rollover. Continued divergence. Okay, you guys remember that? Even though we're on a 5-minute chart, here's the 1-hour chart. And we've had this planned for weeks. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah, can it fixed standard? Yeah, that I believe that's under options, trade, set your defaults. You do that there, okay? Options, trade, and then make your adjustments. All right, tools, options, trade tab. Anything else? These are all very good questions. Thank you for asking questions. Oh, hello, Buzz. Yeah, well, we pointed you out. We made an example of you, boy. All right, so that's cool. So everything is MT4 related today. So if you got some more questions, that's cool. Let's kind of look around the world. Actually, you know what? We should probably go back to what we were just doing. I know. Let's go to the yen pivots. All right, one of the things I'm looking for, and I have to double check, are we all in the same time frame? 4 hour. Let's all go to the 4 hour. Okay. What's the common denominator across these currency pairs? Japanese yen. Eric wants to know how to make 500 pips a week. Well, I would say 3 33 pip trades per day would be pretty close. But if you can do 2 66 pip trades, that's even better. All of that is extremely achievable. So I'll give you an example. When I used to have 100 open positions open, and they made on average 30 pips each, how many pips did I make per day? More than you would think is even possible, right? Like, just blow your mind. You're like, just redonkulous. Well, that's how you do it. But then what happens when you have a losing 30 pips each? Minus 3,000, right? Oh, it's not ouch, because I have my stop at break even on every single one. Okay? You see what I mean? It's not a problem if you have 100 open positions and they're all profitable. But you know, it's funny when you start trading, you don't even know that you're supposed to know that, right? But I did work with a group of traders last summer, and I got on my hands and knees and begged for an entire month for people to do that with me going into September, October, and November. And I don't know if people did or not, but if you had rolled into that period with like 20 profitable trades open, and you left them open, you would have done extremely well. Okay. So, anyways, so what we're looking at here is the common denominator of yen. Okay, are they all doing the same thing? Euro yen is mostly up but sideways. USD yen is only sideways. Aussie yen is straight up like a rocket ship. Pound yen is straight up like a rocket ship. CAD yen is straight up like a rocket ship. Kiwi is down to sideways. So they're not all the same. So I look at this and I say, well, Aussie and CAD and pound are ripper strong. The USD yen are worth about the same. Euro's not far off. Under, at least the last, week or so. And Kiwi is very weak. So the weakest one on here is Kiwi. So, and the strongest one is Aussie. So I know you guys wanted to look at Aussie Kiwi yesterday, and I said no, right? You can look at the chart and say, well, maybe you do want to trade that. Well, that's your alpha. That's how you're outsmarting the market, right? The beta is the market. Your alpha is your ability to beat the beta. So, for example, I remember one time I was being heckled at FX Street, and the guy's like, he's like, Wayne, I made 300 pips this week on Euro Yen. I'm a better trader than you. And I'm like, wow, that's great. Welcome to my webinar. So congratulations on the 300 pips. Is he a good trader? I said, well, okay, that's really cool. I'm glad you made profit. I'm glad you're successful. I'm glad you're feeling good. You're rude. but let's look at this. The market moved 1,200 pips. So the beta would be 1,200, right? And the guy made 300. Is he a good trader? In the same period, the market dropped 1,200. He made 300. He's God's gift to the trading world, right? Okay. So let's say the market moved 50 pips and he made 300. Now how did he do? Well, it depends on how he accomplished it. So there's actually two parts to that. One, he did better than the market. Okay. And then, so the next question is, how did he do it? And that's where you do risk-adjusted performance and stuff like that. But if the market moved 50 and he made 300, okay, so like that means obviously the market didn't just move sideways 50. It probably moved down 200 and up 200, and the difference was 50. So it moved down 250 and then up 200. And obviously he would have sold a few times down and bought a few times up, and he made money. But the market generally didn't do much. Okay, so a swing trader would have sat on it all week and didn't make much money, but he was a spot trader or a scalper and accumulated more. Therefore, his alpha was better than the general market beta. Okay, if you're using the CAP-M model, oh my gosh. How do we get into this stuff? That's why I like you guys. You're crazy. All right. I mean, people do this all the time, right? I don't have a drawing tool. This is going to take too long. I don't have a drawing tool. But you take the expected return of a stock minus the risk-free rate of a return, right, equals the risk-free rate of return minus the beta times the expected return for the market minus the risk-free rate of return. Easy, right? So you look at that, and what you're saying is, how much, if I bought Amazon today, what should it be worth in the near future? How do you know? How could you even decide? Now you're a portfolio manager and you're buying $30 million worth of Amazon. You're like, well, I think it's going to go up, but how much? And why? So if you look at historic performance of the market, okay, so sometimes the market is really down, right? 2008, the market was down, 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 down. But in 2005, the market was up, 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 up. Right? No, it's more complicated than that, Nuno. Much more complicated than that. All right, so what is your stock going to do, or even more importantly, how about your stock portfolio going to do, right? So you look at that, and then you say, when the market, let's say when the market goes up 5%, how does Amazon go up or down? And if it goes up or down, how much does it go up or down? Does it go up and down 7%? Does it go up or down 2%? Does it go up or down 20%? Every stock would be different, right? You guys understand? Right? You have the up and down action of the general market. Let's say the S&P 500. And while the S&P 500 is going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, what's Amazon doing in relation? And is it more volatile than the general market or less volatile? That volatility now is the beta in relation to the volatility of the market. Okay? So let's say the market, when the market moves 5%, Amazon, let's say, typically moves 8%. And, you know, your purchase of, you know, if you bought Amazon, you would expect it, if the expected volatility of the market is going to be 5, you should make 8. And if you didn't make 8, it wasn't a very good return. You might have made money, but your return on the investment was less than what it should have been. Okay? But and if you have let's say a portfolio now of stocks, and the market moves, you know, a certain amount, and you make more than its expected return, that's your alpha. Okay, because of course you're supposed to earn money, but then if you can outperform, but then some people say the only way you can outperform is by taking on additional risk, like leverage. Okay, fine. Okay, so that's where you get into debating and stuff. Okay, so how well did you do? Well, it depends. What did the market do? So this is why I say to you guys, when the market's not doing very much, let's say it's the month of July, and it's quiet as can be. The market's on vacation. Okay, you're either on the beach in Miami or you're skiing in New Zealand, right? But whatever. The market's quiet. Should you make a lot of pips if the market's not doing much? Should you like make 1,000 million billion trades? Or let's say, should you expect to have 150 pip winners every day? Well, no. Well, this whole thing, but should you try or should you change your strategy? Should you hold the winners and let them run? Or should you take profit quickly and be happy with a 50 pip win? What's your expectation from the market? Well, what's the market's beta? Sometimes you should be happy with a 30 pip winner. Sometimes you should be embarrassed for a 30 pip winner. How do you know? Okay, you see what I mean? Sometimes a 30 pip win is a good trade. Sometimes a 30 pip win is not a good trade. It depends on what the market's doing. So when the market is moving fast and furiously, guys, September, October, November, and the yens are moving 150 pips a day each, and you got like 5 or 6 yen pairs you like to trade, should you make one trade a day? Should you be happy with a 50 pip win? You're like, I made 50 pips today. If I keep this up, I'm gonna make 2,000 pips this month. Well, that would possibly suck. But if it was July, I'm like, oh my God, seriously? You made that many? That's awesome. It depends, doesn't it? Think of it. If you had 7 yen pairs and they were all moving on average 150 pips a day because it's October and things are booming, enter a trade, jam your stop. Enter a trade, jam your stop. Enter a trade, jam the stop. Enter a trade, jam the stop. Enter a trade, jam the stop. Let the sucker run for 4 days. Make 500 pips on 7 trades. But on day 2, enter 7 more trades. Jam the stop, jam the stop, jam the stop. What if you had 27 trades open making 150 pips a day? You're like, oh my God, I'm drowning in pips. I can't believe it. But what do amateur retail traders do? Hey, I made 50 pips today. I hit my goal. I feel so good. And then you get upset when it doesn't work. In July, you're like, oh, I didn't make it. Oh. Like, come on. Adjust your strategy based on market conditions. When the fish are jumping into the canoe, go fishing. And bring some extra canoes. Okay? I once traded for so long without getting out of my chair, and you're going to laugh like I made a joke, but it's the God honest truth, that I wore the skin off my tailbone. You know how painful that is? So I couldn't sit for like 4 or 5 days. Like I couldn't sit over the weekend, for example. So I had to figure out ways to teach myself how to sleep on my stomach and all that kind of stuff. Do you think the market was quiet? Yeah. You know what it is? Why it is? Just sweat. I know how disgusting that is, but just sitting at your desk for 15 hours, eating at your desk, just never moving from the charts. Ew. Sweat and grease and who knows else what. But the markets were moving. Okay? Do you understand? Yeah, it should be retail sales, Ken. So the market was moving, and I need to make money when the market's moving. That's the beta. The volatility is high. I need to make money. The volatility is low. My expectations are adjusted, and I'm happy to take a bunch of quick wins. 25 here, 25 there, 25 here, 25 there. If you made 100 pips on a slow day, you feel really good about it. Yeah, right. Yeah. So anyways, that's that. You know, this has been a very long session. We haven't done any work, but we've covered a lot of interesting topics. Let's do some trades or something. And then yeah, let's go through some stuff. How about that? Okay. Yeah, looks like I'm in apparently, huh? That's the problem with the using a limit order. Looks, I had a little 25 pip stop or something on it. I wouldn't have done that normally. Okay. But anyways, you can consider it now. I might be interested up in here, right? If you want it, right? Try again. That's not how I normally trade, as you know. I like to drop into like 1 minutes and 5 minutes and look for turns at resistance and all that kind of stuff. But just, you know, and then always have a stop. Indicator, which is kind of neat, or I believe it's an EA. Yeah, sorry, I don't. Okay, watch this auto stop. Okay, auto stop. You see the happy face? That means the EA is running. I want to delete that for a second. Well, I'll try to get triggered here and watch what happens. Insert. I'm going to insert a limit order. I'm going to try to get hit. Okay, I'm not doing anything. I'm not touching. I'm going to move my mouse. Watch what happens if I get triggered. That's close. Not touching it. I'm not. Okay, I'm in. You see? What happened? You see what happened? There's the sell order. But look, up here, there's a stop. Down here, there's a limit. You see them? I didn't touch a thing. All I did was put a limit order that says if price hits this order, enter the short, and then all of a sudden, I didn't tell it where the stop and limit should be. It did it automatically. And so I have it predefined in the EA to say put a 50 pip stop, put a 100 pip limit, and then I can adjust it later as I go by. Okay, it looks like it was even closer than that because we got triggered around 75 and the stop. So it looked like it was a 25.50 OCO. So that one is called, let's do it this way, indicator list. No, it's not an indicator, sorry. Beep. It's called, so what's the best place to show this? It's not, all right, we'll do it this way then. It's called auto stop. And buy from the market, maybe. I don't tend to do this very often, so here's the EAs you can buy. I don't think it's in here. So anyways, it's an auto stop OCO. One cancels other. I was thinking maybe the properties in here. Maybe if I go to modify. fxautomated.com. If you like that one. Okay. Looks like I bought it. Okay. So that's that. So, you know, like I said, you can customize this like 50s hot rod, and that's one of the most beautiful things about, hang on, I want to be above that, about MT4. It's light, it's customizable, you can change it, you can make it your own, and eventually, like, my MT4 is my MT4. Your MT4 will be different, it'll be your MT4, just the way you like it. Okay. So anyways, I'm going to go. So peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. Apparently, we had an MT4 training day. That's pretty cool. You guys asked. I hope I delivered. You know, I think it's important to understand, you know, your tools that you use, whether it's an indicator or your trading platform, and to be able to do it efficiently and effectively. If you're going to be a professional, you don't want to be messing around. You know, back in the day, I've lost money making mistakes on my trading platform, and that's the worst way to learn. But I think we've probably all done it. So, you know, we need to be, like I said, efficient and effective using the tools that we have, and use the right tools at the right reason, and understand how they work and why we want to use them. So indicators and EAs and your trading platform, on top of the technical strategies and the fundamental strategy, it's all very important, and I'm here to help in all these categories. And don't don't forget, you know, our noodles are important too, right? The psychology and the emotions of being a trader, and so I can help in these areas, and I care about your success. So I'll be here tomorrow here at TradersWay.com. Thanks for being a client, and I'm going to drop you onto our YouTube.com/C/TradeWay page. Please go to yesterday's video, leave a comment, leave a like, do a share, but show that you care, and within an hour you'll have today's video. So subscribe, so when you log into YouTube, it'll let you know if I've updated the video or not automatically. Okay? So peace on earth, may the pips be with you, may your profits be above average.